I got a lot to say, can't hold it in this time. Got no filter, I got no filter. 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 No filter, I got no filter.
Welcome to Tuesday night or Paramotor Hangout. I'm going to get that right eventually. I'm one of your people on the panel today. I don't want to call it host because I don't feel like a host. Everyone, Mark and Will's host too. Anyways, I'm one of the hosts, Never Trust Skinny Chef Shane, and this is our Tuesday night hangout where we are going to talk about a few things tonight that are very interesting. Mark will fill us all in, right, Mark?
Yeah, whatever he just said, I am down with that.
Mark just came in, what, 2 minutes ago? He's like,
Yeah.
Mr. Will, how we doing tonight, sir?
doing real good. What's up, Randy Milstead? I see you too, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, doing good. I feel really good tonight. I don't know why. It's kind of weird, you know. Just
Well, maybe
I finished my van.
what? And
Yeah.
we have photos on social media, Instagram, TikTok.
I mean, you will. It literally just finished it like an hour ago.
So the paint's still drying, is what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you laugh. These little caps, you know, that you can put, like you put a screw in the cap, and I mean, yeah, and then you can close the cap over it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
So you can spray paint those because no one has them in black, which is kind of weird. Anyways, that's where I am.
Very nice, very nice. Mark, how was things for you today, sir?
Everything was good for me today. Just went to work and came home and got a little bit of stuff done around here. That was about it.
It's a brand new house. What do you got to get done? Everything should have been done.
No, really just stuff inside the house. We finally got our dining room chairs delivered today.
All right.
It's hard to get stuff.
No more standing and eating is what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, tonight's show we have we have two different topics, correct, Will?
Yeah, we just talk about the first one, and then whatever's left over, we can talk about the next one.
All right. And what would you like to talk about first, Mr. Will?
How about we talk about the one that's a little uncomfortable, and then we'll end on the one that's maybe a little more comfortable, if that makes any sense. You know, kind of ended on a positive note.
Okay. What we're talking about is Mark's nudes had leaked out, and
Well, I apologize in advance for all of y'all. In full disclosure, I did leak them myself. So.
All right, Will. I'm sorry to swerve that one, man. My bad.
Hey, okay. You got to do what you got to do.
Let's do the uncomfortableness.
I was thinking of, and I thought about this the other day. If you're in the sport, eventually you're going to stumble across the unfortunate experience of seeing someone have an accident in the sport. Now, let me preface this by saying I still believe in my heart that this is the safest form of aviation. And but you know, accidents happen, and sometimes people push it a little bit too hard, or it's just a plain and simple accident, and you get to witness it. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about what you should do in the event you experience that. And I mean, I can tell you personally, and Shane, you were there when I actually, you know, at was it Nick? Yeah, Nick's accident. I got to experience that, and it was traumatic for me, you know.
Which Nick?
LaBeouf.
LaBeouf. I'm sorry. Jeez. Go ahead.
Yeah. And for me, it just when I saw it, it looked surreal. Almost as though what I was seeing didn't line up with what was. It just didn't seem real, you know.
Right.
So my immediate reaction was to do what a lot of people did, and that is to run out and try to help the person, you know. And after a handful of people go out, I mean, you reach a point of diminishing returns where you're more of a hindrance than anything. So by the time I was able to kind of collect myself and realize what had happened, there were already people out there. And so I chose to step back and just stay back and let others handle it. And so I thought we talked about that a little bit, you know, and, you know, feel free. I know, Shane, you've had some personal experience with stuff like that too. So
Some of my experiences have actually hindered my flying. So I did see the Nick LaBeouf thing at Dave Purdon's. I'm sorry, at Bad Apples. Yeah, Hodges. Again, I seen what I thought. What I didn't actually see this as much as I seen the wing fall from the creek on into the grass with you, Will, and I can promise you it. I thought the same thing had happened with you and Nick at that time. And then I had the unfortunate, which I didn't actually see the actual impact, but out at the compound, a guy from New York lost control, stalled his wing about 60, 70 feet up, and Krista was unfortunate enough to witness the impact and said something to me about the guy just went down. And she said to me, it looked similar to what Nick LaBeouf did. I was like, oh, okay. You know, it's bad, but it's not like I need to jump over and whoa.
Oh, shit. Shit. This is not the right link.
Speaking of leaked photos,
I
was
thought
supposed
that
to be on
the
a
gay
oh,
porn
man,
show
this is
was
bad. I
next
was supposed to
week.
be on a different link, obviously.
yeah.
Sorry.
for those of you listening, David Wolf just joined us, and I don't think he's wearing anything.
Whoa!
Oh, I'm glad Bill H is up there blocking the bottom of that screen.
Sorry about that. I had another meeting scheduled at the same time. Sorry. I was on the wrong one. My bad.
If you want to see Dave at any time on OnlyFans, it is under Bearded Man Flies in the Sky.
Magic, I've changed my name to Magic Dave.
Oh,
Hi, y'all.
how's it going? So, anyways, with the accident at the compound, we did go over. We ended up cutting them out of the harness, rolling them over, and doing CPR and stuff. And I tell you right now, that has screwed my flying up. I shouldn't say it screwed it up. It's not a negative. It's made me more cautious and what the possibilities are for myself and for my family. So I've kind of backed off of doing any kind of real crazy stuff. I still fly close to objects, trees, and poles and stuff. But I mean, it is what it is. I never want that for my family. Dave, any things that have happened that you've seen flying wise?
We're talking about how to act when you experience someone else's accident. What to do.
Usually it's me. I'm not sure what it's like to be on the other side of this.
Dave says just bring a cast net or a fishing or a long
Look who's talking.
fishing net.
Look
Hey,
who's talking.
one time.
You cannot talk me.
Oh, you know, when I stood that up in that creek, I said, just like Dave.
Just like
But I wasn't following behind two people. I was out in front, so I had no excuse of why or what happened to me. I'm just not. I just suck at flying. So
Hi, Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hey, hey, how you doing, Dave?
Good. I was talking to Will a little bit ago, so he was telling me about the second topic, which I kind of wanted to. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
yeah. If you don't mind
Yeah.
hanging out, Dave, I greatly appreciate it. Mark, you've experienced a bad takeoff. Clearly trying to do another wingtip cage drag and it didn't turn out right or something in your front yard.
Yeah, that one was big. I mean, that I wasn't hurt at all, so that was really no big deal. Just cost a little bit of money. But I saw, of course, I saw Nick's crash, which was rough to watch, and then also I saw that one at Moonshiners before Moonshiners started a year or so ago, and that was really tough to watch. And there was a bunch of people running when that came to a stop, and I saw a bunch of people running over there. I have zero medical training, and so anyways, I didn't run over there because, I just ain't gonna do that.
We saw Cat hit the asphalt too on
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
what about the other one where the guy broke his femur? I think
I-
I caught the tail end of that, no pun intended, but I literally caught the tail end of that crash. Almost the same as Nick. And
Yeah, I actually fixed that paramotor.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a local guy here.
So, are we talking about how to react when you see something happens, or
Yes.
Yeah, like when Shane goes fishing.
okay? So, I'll share this story again. You may have heard it before, you may not have. And this was when a buddy of mine who hadn't been flying much, he really wasn't that good of a pilot, and he finally says, Dave, I've got this stuff sitting around. In fact, his trailer is the one I now own. He said, I want to try this again. Would you work with me? He's already flown and everything. I said, absolutely. He goes, I haven't flown in over a year. I haven't tried in over a year, but this stuff is sitting here and it's at a point where I need to either sell it or fly. I said, absolutely, come on over. He brings over a trike that I was not familiar with, how it all attached. So I'm looking it over, and I'm trying to remember the story because it's one of those stories you kind of try to forget. You know what I'm saying? It was that horrific. Do you guys know where I'm going with the story? Do you remember the story? Will, you do?
I do.
Okay. Mark, you may not have heard this story.
Mm-mm.
So brings it over to my house, and we set it up in the driveway, and I said, well, you want to start it up or should I? He goes, why don't you start it up? I said, okay. So I feel I grabbed the cage. I'm like, this thing is kind of loose. It feels loose the way it's attached to the trike. Are you sure this is right? He goes, yeah, this is right. I said, okay. And so I said, well, how is this thing being held on? He said, just, this strap that goes around the fuel tank and again, don't remember all the details, but it was something to that point. I said, all right, well, I guess we can give it a start up. So I pulled the cord, thing started up, right? Everybody's good. I said, all right, you want to, I said, you sure you don't want to do this? This is your machine. He goes, no. So I'm standing, I'm kind of squatted down on one knee, and I've got my arm, again, you're in a trike, and it's almost like you're in a ground starting position, but it's attached to the trike, and so you shouldn't have to worry about anything happening because it's attached to the trike. It's not going to fall over on you, right, Shane?
Right. Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
But I still have my arm braced against the harness, and I've got the throttle in my right hand. And I start giving it a little bit of throttle, and it starts to lean back on me a little bit. But I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird, but all right, I trust this guy. And lean, fire, and all of a sudden the whole cage falls back on top of us. Okay, and I immediately hit the kill switch. But the gentleman I was with, his name's Jason, he was kind of on the other side of the axle. So the axle is going, I'm facing the motor. So the front axle is kind of by my rear buttocks, and he's on the other side. And he goes and he puts his hands up like this. And here's what happens next. And those two fingers ended up on my garage door. And it was very traumatic for all of us. My daughter who saw the thing happen. And so immediately, of course, he's screaming, and we're trying to find the pieces and calling 911, and it's so to that. Yeah, sorry, this is graphic, Shane, but to that effect, I mean, what do? You try to stay as calm as you possibly can. You get, we got a bucket of ice to put the fingers on. 911 came out. They took him by ambulance. I followed him. By the time I got to I got to the hospital, he was there, and then they life flighted him over to another. Very traumatic, and he lost his fingers. He's one of those special people in this world. Very, very special people who he says, you know what, David? I'm not mad at you. It was God's will.
Wow.
He goes,
Yeah.
God had a plan, and for me, and there's something that's good that's going to come out of this, and there's a reason that this happened. But even still, I mean, he wouldn't have blamed me either way. I mean, it was his to check and to know how to run this. So what did I learn from this lesson is you say to somebody, hey, you know what? Do me a favor. I'm not familiar with this trike. I'm not familiar with this paramotor. Could you just show me, take it apart and show me how, if I bought this, how I would put this together so that I knew it was safe to fly.
Right. I do. So one of the things that has bugged me the biggest about the accident at the compound, is I know I wasted valuable time, because my wife said, "Oh, that guy just crashed." Like it was just like a lane, like just a trip and fall on landing or something. That is how I took it, and she did not realize that it was as dramatic as it was as well. So I finished ratchet strapping my paramotor to the back of the truck before we left. If I had known, or if she had realized how bad the accident was, it wouldn't have taken me the time, longer to get over there. Because once I got over there, this guy was pretty much face down. And the guy that was already there is like, can't move him. And I said, well, is he breathing? And he's like, no. I'm like, well, a spinal cord or a neck injury is least of our concerns at this point. If he's not breathing, it's not going to matter. So I pulled a knife out and just started cutting the harness. And once he came out of the harness, we rolled him over. Whether or not that time frame would have mattered or changed anything, there was dramatic injuries, noticeable injuries. That probably is what would it wouldn't have mattered if we were standing there when he hit the ground or not. But it bothers me that I did not take a quicker response. And we're not talking 5-10 minutes. We're talking an extra minute and a half, minute and 45 seconds to finish ratchet strapping, because it's almost already done. But that bothers me so much that it keeps me up at night to this day. It still does. And I'll wake up in a cold sweat and my wife will tell me it's okay and, try to get me back to sleep. But that particular lack of understanding or quickness is what keeps me up to this day. I was up this morning before we talked about this afternoon, the topic we were talking about. This morning I was up at 3:45 because of this. To this day, it's been over a year.
Back to God's will, man.
Shane, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. It's one of those things. Now, this is a time in my life where I can say, I understand how you feel. I had tremendous guilt for months and months and months about Jason's fingers.
Yeah.
What if I would have? What if I looked at? What if we were not on the driveway? What if we were in the grass? What if just so many would-haves? What could have happened? How could I have prevented this? It's not your fault. It wasn't my fault. We do what we can do the best we can, and that's all we can do.
And I 100% agree with you on that. The problem is, I think I could have done better. You know what I mean? Like, that's what eats at me is I'm not a perfectionist, but when it comes to something so freaking important and I delayed, whether it just be a minute and 30 seconds, minute 45 seconds, to me, that's an hour and 45 minutes in my head. You know what I mean? Like, I let this guy, because the people that were already there was a third party outside of the paramotor group that showed up on scene first, and they all just sat there and let him just face down. Like, why are we like? I understand the neck and the spine issues, but if he's not breathing, it doesn't matter at that point. If he's not breathing, he's not going to have to worry about a spinal injury or a neck injury.
This is
And-
exactly why I think this is a great topic and it needs to be discussed. Because I mean, if you put 10 people in a situation like that, 5 of them are going to act differently than the other 5. I mean, there's some people are going to just get right in there and start helping. Some people are going to be stunned and not know what to do and freeze. And so,
As soon as I pulled up, as soon as I came out of my truck, I ran over and started literally moving because they already said he wasn't moving. If you're not moving, okay. And I asked, is he breathing? They're like, no. I started just doing my thing. The guy's like, wait, he could have a spinal cord injury. I'm like, if he's not breathing, that's the least of our concerns. My wife, who had just had carpal tunnel surgery on both of her wrists, is in the medical field, has done CPR on people 100, if not 200 different times, and looked at me and goes, I can't do anything. Like, I'm out. And because she couldn't even hardly, like, even turn the steering wheel, more or less put pressure on enough to make a difference on a chest compression. And when we rolled him over, you know, his eyes were already gray. He was 1,000-yard stare. And Krista looked at me and she just shook her head and looked down. And I was just like, I don't care. I don't care if it's 100% over and done with. We are going to try. And, you know, it actually, let's move on. Not move on to something else because I like to continue to this. But so when Nick went and had his accident at Hodges Field, I seen how many people were out there on the field. The next thing, what I thought was important at that time was to go get his wife, Melissa. And I can tell you honestly, this is another one, Dave, that bothers me more than anything. I went to Melissa. I went over to where her camper was, and I said, where's Melissa? And, oh, she's in there cooking. And I yelled, Melissa, get out here now. It's important. And she came out. So here's the discussion. I said to her, and I verbatim, I said, Nick had a crash. He's out there on the field. Let's go. We need to go get, jump on the golf cart. She fell to the ground, thought that I had just told her husband died. Like, for me, that played that over and over in my head. Like, should I said, hey, Nick had an accident. He's fine. He's just laying on the field. He's talking. I didn't know any of that. I just seen everybody over there already knew. They said he was talking, so I ran and got Melissa. And it took an extra 4 minutes to get her off the ground because she thought her husband was dead. I felt horrible. I told her, I said, if he crashes again, I'm not telling you. Like, I'm done. Like, I felt so bad because I wasn't trying to say anything negative other than give her information of he crashed. We need to go see him. And she took it as he's dead and just crumbled to the ground. And I was like, holy crap. Like, I never want to be in that situation. It's horrible.
Yeah. Sorry, typing.
No, it's fine. I just, for me, being first responder or telling somebody first that their spouse is, done whatever. I have no idea if actually I do. I text my wife when I went into the water. I turned around and text her almost immediately, even before I even try to get my wing out of the water. I text her, said, hey, I made a water landing. I'm fine. We're working to get my wing out of the water. Just in case anybody ever saw it and said, hey, there's a pilot down in the water. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want her to go into panic mode. So that's the first thing I thought of before I ever even, they gave that time for that little guppy to jump into the wing. I think that's what it was.
Well, and really, I didn't want to make it, and I talked to Shane about this before he even brought this topic up, and my fear is that it would be like maybe a little too morbid, and because we like to keep the show on an upbeat, and it's just one of those things I think that would benefit us to talk about it. And the general consensus, what I'm seeing in my belief too in the chat, is that you did what you could do, Shane. You did everything you great, and it wasn't in your hands. The call wasn't yours.
No, and I would encourage everyone to do a first aid and a CPR course just to, if you know how to do it, great. Do a refresher course. They're always changing things, improving things. I have to do it at work every year, but I mean, it's not easy in the moment to have a mannequin on the table and you go, okay, I got to do this. That's all fine and dandy. But when you're actually involved in doing it, it's overwhelming. I mean, the people that do it every day, my wife, she comes home, she's like, oh yeah, lady went into cardiac arrest. I gave her CPR. The ambulance showed up. She's fine. Like, just like another day at work. Meanwhile, I'm like falling apart. You know what I mean? Like, I can't handle this kind of stuff. I mean, if it was me in that situation where, and my wife will tell you, I've had some situations where she's like, we should call an ambulance. Oh, no, I'll just drive myself to the hospital, and I have twice, and both times walked through the emergency rooms and passed out.
Hey, at least you made it.
That's what I said.
Mr. Dana 54 makes a really good point. He says every situation is different and it's difficult even for medically trained to make the right move. And that's true. I mean, when they get there, you can kind of tell they're trying to assess the situation and what's the best thing to do. And so, yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. So is there any other points or anything anybody wants to add before we switch subjects?
Yeah, the only other thing I would say is it's probably not a bad idea to keep a stocked first aid kit in your car or your vehicle.
I have two.
Yep.
I've been a hunter and a woodsman, and whenever we go backpacking, there's a whole set there, and then I keep one in my truck. And when I get done backpacking, that one goes back into my truck in case there's a car accident or something that at least I can add some sort of medical aid, gauze, stop bleeding, whatever. So yeah, it is very important to keep that on you, at least nearby. And it doesn't have to be, I mean, my wife's in a medical field. The chick we've got suture kit in the first aid. I'm like, listen, if I'm cut and I need sutures, unless you got something to numb that, you ain't sticking me with nothing. What are you planning on doing with this? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, no, we'll figure that part out. Just put some gauze on the end of whatever's cut open, and we'll get to the hospital. They'll numb that up, and then we'll go through there. Because this is not no Rambo situation. I'm gonna scream and cry the entire time.
Yep. Well, the first aid kit. I'm sorry, Mark. I'm going to throw this out there and then turn it over to you. But the first aid kit, always keep it in the same place and readily accessible, so that you don't have to go hunting and looking for it. I'm sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
No, that's good. I won a real nice first aid kit when we were up at Dave Purdon's, in the boxes in here. It's called a Crash Pack, and it was from a company called Parapax for paramotors. It was a nice first aid kit that I won up there as a door prize.
And don't think, Mark, I didn't almost ask you for that, just so you know. Because you know what's better than two first aid kits, right? 3.
3?
Yeah. Hey, Mark, why don't you go ahead and read that one out and give him a rebuttal.
Why do Will and Shane proudly wear their Paralife t-shirts, and Mr. Paralife himself is wearing something other than his shirt? Well, number one, I'm wearing a Gage t-shirt that is it's one of the few t-shirts I wear other than Paralife. And that's, for everybody here, I'm sure knows, this is, Shane and Krista's son's t-shirt. So this is about my proudest t-shirt that I wear. And the Paralife stuff, whatever. But those guys, they make it, I don't know if they make it look good or that helps with their looks. That might be why they're wearing it.
I got a question for Magic Dave. Does Magic Dave have a Paralife shirt? I'm just asking for a friend.
I do somewhere. I just grabbed the first shirt I saw in my drawer.
We're
I
just
got-
glad you finally
I got
grabbed a
ragged-
shirt.
I got yeah, well, there's that. I got ragged on last time because I was wearing a white T-shirt, a white beater, and I'm like, Shane's gonna yell at me, so I better grab something out of the drawer.
Shane is not yelling at anybody for nothing on this show. We're just. I'm not
No
speaking for you.
filter, man. No filter.
I'm not speaking for Dave, but the three of us are dumbasses, and we're just having fun hanging out.
No, I was thinking that's a great point. I did get a first aid kit, and I keep it in my cargo trailer, but that's not doing me any good when I go fly and I don't have my cargo trailer. But I was thinking a great place to start keeping a first aid kit is right at the windsock pole, and let everybody know it's there, so it's easily accessible. And
That's
you
a good
always
idea.
remember to
That's
grab
good.
it when you leave, and you always remember to put it out when you get there.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, that might be something. Figure out how to put a little ring on that or something. I don't know.
You should like patent that.
Heck yeah.
Freaking one sock first aid kit combo.
Yeah.
If only somebody made like a flagpole holder and then incorporated that. Great
We could make-
idea. Good luck
we could make-
selling that.
A flagpole holder and it's got a little cup holder as well for your bear.
Yeah.
So it's accessible when you land. And... I like where this is going, Mark. Let's keep going with this.
Yeah. Apparently you don't have any money invested in that like I failed at.
Oh, okay. You did some. Oh,
Well, your idea was
all
brilliant.
right. I hate that. All right. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna go get something from the garage, and you're gonna yell at me. I'll be right
Okay,
back because
Hey,
I love
before you
this
go-
idea so much, but I'm so freaking cheap. I'll be right
Wait,
back.
before you go, wait, Dave. Oh, he took his headphones out.
What?
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
James wants to know if there's any chance for a Christmas special 2.0.
No, and that would be 3.0. And that'd be 3.0. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, where did half of the show go? Just you. and me,
Apparently
Brad.
this is a potty intermission or something. Everybody watching, go grab a beer and use the restroom. We'll be back after these useless commercial breaks.
What?
Okay. So
We just met in the garage, Dave and I. We left at the same time. We came back at the same time.
I
It's
don't
just
want to wipe that off, Dane.
You're blowing my butt. I'm at the Purdon fly-in, and I'm just sitting there going, please nobody take Mark's windsock pole holder because I really, really, really want one. And I didn't win it, and I was pissed off, so I went home and I bought an L bracket, and I electric taped it to my windsock pole holder.
There you go. Look at that.
And I love
They
it.
say, what is that? The highest form of flattery?
And someone said, where did you get this? I said, Paralife. They just use this black tape, duct tape, and they just tape it all together.
Oh, no wonder I can't sell them if they think that's the crap I got for sale. Sweet Jesus.
I think I
Oh.
just admitted that I infringed on a copyright.
Hey, Mark, I do want to let you know that you gave me 2 of those, and I gave 1 to Soup
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
this past weekend. I took the one that fit my flag the best, or the flagpole the best, and gave him the other one. He's got a blue line flag that he wants to fly on his new camper. So
Cool.
I said, that's from Mark. He said, you owe him nothing.
Yeah, that's all good.
Just saw your text, Dave. Sorry. You figured it out. Well, real quick, I'm going to give away 2 Will Fly stickers. And the first person that answers in the chat, what's up, Keith? Keith Gray just joined us. What temperature is minus 44 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius?
What'd you say? Sorry. I had
You can't win. It doesn't matter. What temperature, minus 44 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius?
Everybody is Googling hard right now.
Yeah, you know they are.
Can I say 15?
You can say anything you want.
It would
Yes,
have to be below 0.
Well, I meant
Wouldn't it?
negative 50. It's 32 degrees is
I need a number, Keith.
so 32 Fahrenheit is 0 Celsius. Right? And we're
Yeah.
at 44 negative Fahrenheit. So you're talking 16?
Yeah, Keith actually got it.
Where are we at? Oh, Keith. Same. What?
Minus 44 degrees Fahrenheit is minus 44 degrees Celsius. So right on,
I
Keith.
would not have got that.
Okay,
I
here's a
just saw that today, so it's not like I'm really smart or anything. I mean, I'm not wearing,
well,
I'm
Will,
not
what,
wearing pants right now.
Will, what weighs more, a pound of a pound of feathers or a pound of bricks?
They're the same. A pound is a pound.
Yeah.
It's a pound of BS.
It's a horse. It's a horse apiece.
Oh, this
Yeah.
show has a lot more than a pound of that.
Oh,
Yeah. So Keith, yeah, just DM me where you want me to send them, and I'll send them to you.
Or just next time you get around that nice camper, just install them yourself. That's what I usually do.
I want a tour the next time I get around that nice camper. That thing is.
I got a tour of it one time, and it's as
Oh.
nice inside or nicer. That
I
thing's
actually-
real nice.
I have actually sat inside there and had ice cream, just so you know, fresh homemade ice cream.
All right.
No, true story. True
Yeah.
story.
You did not.
Keith, am I lying? Did I not sit in there and have Kat made us ice cream? Me and Krista. We're gonna have to wait on this answer. Watch it. Oh, who's that behind me? Oh, it's Evil. What's up, Evil?
You want to see something that's gonna make you uncomfortable?
Sure.
We're on national television right now.
We still got customers there. We got Come on now.
Okay, you gotta go. You gotta go now.
It was still alive, and he's fine. Tell me
You
why-
ready for the next topic?
Oh no, what was the one? What was the other one?
The other
Sorry.
topic, the other thing I was thinking about today is how do I phrase it? There's a couple different ways. One, I could say what's the dangers of becoming bored in the sport of paramotoring? The other thing is, what do you do when you become bored in paramotoring? And two things from my personal experience is just yesterday or the day before, I had my first flight after almost a month. And before that, I mean, what has it been, Shane? It's going on 3 years, isn't it?
What, from your last flight?
I think it's going on 3 years for me.
For,
Before
for-
that, it would be every single chance I could fly, I would fly.
Hmm.
So we're on that topic now, Dave.
Mhm.
And so I'm thinking that I could say, yeah, okay, I had the van and I was working on it and videos and all these distractions and stuff. But man, that wasn't an issue before. So yeah, I don't know. I know that everyone will experience this at some point in their flying career, or they've already done it. And so, yeah, where do you go from here? I mean, the other reason is the barrel roll. I think that's why I was doing the barrel rolls, because I was trying to kick it up a notch, you know. So that therein plays that's the danger card there. You know, could it possibly push you to do something that you really shouldn't be doing? So there.
Man, I don't. Okay, for me personally, like that whole water foot drag thing, which I don't water foot drag anything, thus being the reason why I landed in the water. I honestly wasn't bored so much as everything felt right. There was no bumps in the air. There was no ups or sinking. Like everything was just butter right in that area, and I could see the bottom. I knew it was shallow. You know, the risk versus the reward was greatly influenced by everything that was happening to me at the time. But maybe there could have been part of me bored of that same area that we've flown twice the last two flights. And I just decided everything was right and I went for it. And I mean, it worked out great for like a second and a half. Then it didn't.
It didn't. Yeah.
Remember, you look cool until you don't. And I was pretty cool, wet and standing knee deep in water. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, you have first responders show up really quick too.
Dude, I watched Mark's video, I can't tell you countless many times, and how quickly Mark landed. I was absolutely amazed when I turned around and Mark's already walking up to me. I was like, where were you? Like, but you watch his video, he literally seen me go in and just killed the motor and poof, no concern of which way the wind's blowing, no nothing.
That's a true friend.
It
No,
was a
and-
mild emergency up until I landed, and then I realized you were standing up. It became less of an emergency.
So much that he went back to get his cell phone that he dropped.
And cell phones are expensive.
There's plenty of Shanes. They're cheap running around here.
I could get more friends.
But yeah, and even Brian like circled a couple times before he landed, and which is not saying anything negative to Brian, but I was just Mark, would you say you're a super confident pilot? Like just to decide, I just need to land now is kind of a little
No,
bit.
I wouldn't say that I'm that confident of a pilot. It was just, you just got to land. Even if you crash landed, that's fine too if it's an emergency.
But for me, it was. I turned around and was shocked to see Mark on the ground first, because I know Brian. Brian does. I bet you that dude has 15,000 touch and goes on every flight we fly together. He's 15, 20 average on touch and goes. He does them everywhere. It doesn't matter where we are. He does them everywhere. So for him to be second on the ground, I was just amazed that Mark was the first one on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to ensure my YouTube channel would
There you
get
go.
something worthwhile.
Good content.
Maybe catch
What
a
do you
turd
think, Dave?
floating down the river from me crapping my pants. Oh, Mark.
What do you think, Dave?
Well, going back to that topic, and I was thinking about this after you and I talked. It's kind of like a video game. All right, picture a video game that you played when you were young, whether it was a puzzle game or it was like a Madden or something like that. And you play this game, and when you start playing that video game, you get your butt kicked. You stink at it, and then you get better, and then you get better, until the point where you're like, I'm winning, and I win, and I got that thrill. I want to win again. I want to play that game again. And then after about the 10th time, you're going, this is starting to get boring. It's not a challenge anymore. And I think for me, and I've had this conversation with a couple of people, for me, it's starting to get to that point very, very much that it's not much of a challenge anymore. And we will all get to that place if you haven't already. I've talked to people who've been in the sport 20 plus years, like Tim Gaskins, and he's like, yeah, I've been at that place for a long time. And it's to the point where you challenge yourself and then you get bored, and you challenge yourself and you get bored. I mean, for me, it started at trikes. I wanted to challenge myself and learn how to foot launch. And I wanted to learn how to do some acro, like some sats and wing overs and barrel rolls. And I've done that. And it's like, don't need to do sat again. I like doing barrel rolls and I like doing wing overs, but I can take or leave a sat. Doesn't matter to me. And then what else? Oh, doing like the football and doing the banner toe with the flag. And, there's little things that I can do but Will's falling asleep. Are you awake, Will? I think you're falling asleep.
My kind of talent.
He's like,
Listen,
but it's so, like, for me personally, I feel like I'm always looking for a way to challenge or needing a challenge. And I was talking to my buddy Mark Ryder, who all of you have met. I don't know if you remember him, but you've all met him at a fly-in. And I was saying, Mark, we need to find things to do. And we had talked about, okay, when it warms up again, we're going to go do this long cross country, and we know a field where the owner's going to let us sleep at the field, so we'll pack a tent, we'll pack some food, and we'll sleep out. We'll come back in the morning. And Will and I talked about another idea when we get together that we want to do, and just doing things like that. But at some point, and I actually contemplated, well, maybe I've done the wheel tandem. Maybe I should learn how to do the foot launching tandem, but I don't think I really want to. So am I at a point where I could take it or leave it flying altogether? Probably not, because I would miss flying. But it's not like I'm dying to know more what Mark is drinking than I am for my next flight. It's a little crazy. But So, but I mean that's I think that is a common thing, or things that happen. Someone said to me today, "What the hell happened to Tom Kubat? Where did Tom Kubat go?" I'm like, well, Tom's fallen in love with flying in his Cessna, and that's okay. And Tom has 2 little boys, and he's got a wife, and he's got a family, and interests changed. And we're blessed to be in a life where there are so many vast things to do, like RVing, camping, right, Shane? Or
Oh, yeah.
learning. Someone had wrote a few seconds ago, get a motorcycle. Maybe you want to do, maybe that's the next thing you do. You don't have to do paramotoring the rest of your life. It's nice to know that we can, though. So I guess that's something not to be discouraged by if you feel like I do, or maybe Will's starting to feel like. But learning just to find new challenges. You guys all do a great job of going to a lot of different fly-ins and flying new places and seeing different terrain, and that keeps you interested and excited.
So for me, I always say to myself, all you do is big ears, spirals, and wingovers. I'm looking at people from the ground looking up, going, that's all that guy does. But you know what? I enjoy those. And if my spirals start getting a little boring, I just pull another 2 inches and it makes it more interesting. Because at some point, I don't know about Dave, I don't know about you, but if you get into a real tight spiral and you feel the G's, you ever had that thought of just the lines going, ah?
Yeah.
I know it's not going to happen, but I just picture myself like looking back and seeing my wing way over there just fluttering back to the earth. And I'm like, oh, that was too much, apparently. Of course, I have my reserve, but it does every now and then when I get into it a little bit more than normal, which I can only do 1 or 2 of those at a fly-in because it leaves me a little funny head, if you will, afterwards. From the G's. But I do want to put on a comment on James's statement we got on the board there. If you are getting bored of just doing wingovers, spirals, and big ears, try doing maybe a fly camping trip, longer cross country. I will tell you, I do like long cross country trips, but what in the heck do you do for 2 hours and 45 minutes? You just sit there. Like, I've played video games. This sounds bad, but you're trying to conserve fuel, so you want to stay at the same altitude. You don't want to climb up and down and be doing this. And I will literally set my cruise control, hook it onto my magnet, and just start playing video games, checking my surroundings, making sure no planes are coming. But yeah, dude, I play solitaire, bricks and balls. Like, dude, I'm always doing stuff on my phone because I'm like, nothing's coming. All right, here we go. But what do you do for 2.5 hours if you're just flying straight? It's a little, for me, I get bored easy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and James is right. Paramotor NC, actually, he's been para camping, and don't get me wrong, I'm not losing my interest in flying.
Me
I
neither.
guess, Shane, when you had that first hit of crack, it was real exciting, but after a while, it's not, you always seem to be kind of chasing the feeling of what you had experienced before.
Right.
And
At first flight.
the first flight, yeah, sure. And it's I know that it's just a natural thing. Most paramotorists that I've met, I would classify as type A personalities. I don't know if you guys would agree with that, but they seem real mission based, kind of, and I don't know about you, Mark. Maybe you might be an outlier. I don't know. But it's just, it's something I wanted to bring up because I've actually seen this topic discussed on Facebook somewhere, and it's very much just as much part of flying as is someone's first flight experience. It's just part of the story. So
I think where I've turned to, because I think for all of us, it started off because we all started about the same time. that we were watching. That was when the YouTube videos were big, and we were watching people doing some crazy stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder if I can do that. I wonder if I can do that. And so, like, for me now, it's like, I don't need to, I'm 49 years old. I'm going to be 50 next year, and I got 4 kids, and I don't need to be doing some of this high-risk stuff. I enjoy just getting up there and flying. And whereas taking off and landing doesn't seem to be very difficult at all. I mean, got to that point where it's so natural. Like, what? See, that's the thing. You know, you get into this because the freedom of flight, and because everybody goes, oh my gosh, I can actually fly. Well, then when flying becomes as easy as walking, what do you do next? You need a new challenge. So what I've been turning to is finding ways to get better at landing exactly like I came in the other night doing a crosswind landing just to see how I could do, and testing out, am I able to do this and lay the glider down to my side so there's no damage to it, and just practicing stuff like that just to get yourself better at spot landing, and finding small, then challenging yourself to shrink that LZ down to baseball fields. Eventually down to a 5x5 foot. No, I'm kidding. But getting so that your number of LZs possibilities become more and more, because you can launch and land in a much tighter area.
Yeah, my spot landing is I've shrunk it down from an area code now to a block. I mean, I'm doing pretty good. I mean, it's a smaller than normal block, but I mean, it is still, a couple hundred football fields by a couple hundred football fields block. But I am getting there. And when I tell you, if I was to throw out, and I have done this many times, I've thrown my wing bag out. I have no chance of landing on that thing. And if I do, it's not because I was skilled to do it. It was just a fluke, because I couldn't do it for nothing more than once.
Hey, how about Mr. Dana's comment? That's hysterical.
Oh, yeah.
Launches.
Yeah, I sent Wolf that video, and I never even got a reply back from it, dude. I was so disappointed.
Because I fell for you. I wasn't going to make fun of you because it.
Oh, I see what you did there. You fell for me.
No, I did. No, I didn't fell. I didn't say that. I felt for you. Shut up. I liked what Fly Swamper just said, and that he's absolutely right. This was just the other night. My son.
Kill your engine.
So.
Good. Easy.
This is my son coming in.
That was mom beeping. Nice. Wait, and pull. Oh, that was beautiful.
Oh, nice.
Hell yeah.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
So that gets me excited, helping other people like Fly Swamper said. So, and Brendan hasn't flown in 11 months, and he and I are going to be making a trip in 2 months down to Florida. So I wanted to make sure that he could still do it. So we got him up on 2 launches, and he flew around for about a half hour, which was awesome. And I mean, just did a great job on the launches and the landings. That was an amazing land. I think it was an accident that he foot dragged, but it was great either way.
How old is
but
he?
Being able to be on the horn with him and mentor him and teach him,
Right.
I love that.
Hey,
What's up,
Dave,
Jim?
how old is he?
Brendan's 19.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So he got trained 2 years ago, I think it was, down in Florida with One Up Adventures and with Fly My PPG. So yeah.
I have talked to him.
I didn't realize he went to Fly My PPG.
Well, I trained him first on my original trike, and so he flew that, and he's very, very good with the trike. And then he learned how to do the foot launching, and he enjoys that. He just hates flying my Moster. He'd rather fly an Atom 80. So
I cannot get my daughter to even do a tandem. She has no interest.
and that's okay. Some people, I had to beg my other son to do a tandem with me. The girls did tandems with me, but some people don't have any. Logan, my other son, has no interest at all. In fact, the first time I saw a paramotor, I went to Flight Junkies. Logan didn't even really want to get out of the car. I said, hey, this Kurt Pfister guy, he's going to go fly. Let's watch him. He goes, I'm going to go wait in the car. I said, are you serious? No desire to even have any fun. And that's okay. To each their own.
So the reason my daughter's name is Evil is because it used to be Evil Knievel. because the girl was crazy. Like, she was 2 years old trying to jump off a 2-story house. She didn't know how to swim. She'd jump into the pool, like, had no fear. Now she just pulls tricks on us and pranks, and we just call her evil because now she won't even get on like a Segway. Like, she's like, no, I'm done. Like, that's too scary. Like, how the hell did you go from one to the other? Like, nothing's ever happened to her. So, whatever. Shit's just evil now. If I call her by her name, she doesn't even respond. She doesn't hear that name. Like, evil's just constantly what we call her, and she will tell you when she introduces herself to you, she'll like, "Hey, I'm evil." Like, straight up. That's what she's just that's what I am. That's what I do. So, well, we got a little less than 5 minutes left. Any other points that we want to make here? Again, I'm not saying that I'm bored of flying. I am bored of the 3 things that I only really do. Other than close proximity flying is one of those things that absolutely makes my stomach get butterflies. I get more adrenaline rush. There are times when I touch the wingtip to a branch as I go over it or by it, and I'm just like, yep, that's what's going to bite me in the ass. I'll say that right now.
If Shane, the next thing for you to do is speed bar.
Yeah, I've done it once during the SIV course and pulled a full frontal.
That's different. That's different.
Know.
You weren't doing that for speed. It's, no. I mean, there's even now in the wintertime when I'm flying with boots on, I still hook up my speed bar. Unless it's a real raunchy wind, I'm always hitting speed bar. It's so much fun.
And if you're getting bored, you could try flying under power lines. That's a little exhilarating.
But you didn't even know you were flying under them until you went, "Ooh, I'm flying under power."
I was a good 2 seconds away before I realized they were there.
Same power lines. I'm like, holy shit, power lines, Mark.
Now, I will tell you, out of the compound, we fly under those high tension power lines all the time. And I'm just waiting for one day when it's enough moisture in the air. Here in Florida, there's not that much, just to make a complete circuit. You know what I mean? Like, through the wing, through me, through the ground, we're done.
Yep. Well, the other side of this. Go ahead, Mark.
I'm you guys talking about getting bored with it and stuff. I myself, I look forwards to flying a bunch, going out of town camping and flying. I enjoy that. The flying local, within reason, the takeoff and landing is fun, but the flying over the same exact stuff to me that's kind of boring. And I mean, and like I said it a bunch of times, I think a lot of people enjoy flying a lot more than I do. And I enjoy it, but I think some people enjoy it more.
Can you imagine flying here in Florida so often that you're flying at the beach, you watch the sun come over the horizon at the beach. It's absolutely gorgeous. And you're flying, you're like, I've already seen all this like 100 freaking times. Like, it's absolutely amazing. You're like, oh, there's a huge shark. There's a manta ray. There's some dolphin. Like, after a while, you're just like, whatever. Like, that's why I love going to new places and flying. Mountain City was one of the hardest places I've ever had to launch from, but I got to see a bear. Like, I've seen a bear in Florida from there, but I'd never seen a bear in this middle of this field climb this the only tree that was in this field. He climbed up it. The tree is damn near tilted over, and he's trying to get away from us, which is actually making him closer to us. And like, I just remember looking over at Smart Car Brian, and I'm like yelling at him, "Bear, bear!" And he gives me the thumbs up and points down at the same tree. Because it's like a 400-pound bear in this little twig, and the tree is just bent over. But the scenery there, if you could get in the air there, the scenery was amazing. But again, by the end of the last flight, I was like, okay, I'm kind of already seen all this. That's just me.
Before we end the show, I have a question for Mark. Mark, the flagpole holders that you were selling, how much are you selling those for?
40.
40. I wanted to just make a little announcement. Right now, you can go to magicdaveppg.com, and I'm selling these for $30. It's our Christmas special. $30. Save money.
Where'd you get that from? Do they sell those at Aldi's?
They mentioned Mark McElroy for a 10% discount.
I think this is a fishing pole.
Yeah, mention Paralife for a discount. Actually, if it'll harm Dave's sales, I'll just give mine away with free shipping.
We should probably go down the list of chatters.
Oh yeah. You want to do that, Will? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I always miss that.
Yeah, no problem. Got Mr. Dana 54, Bill H, Tommy Sutherland, Fly Swamper, Linda Anderson, Paramom, Tony Marzano, John Wayne. What's up, John? Eric Von Eric, Randy Milstead. I see you. Randy Milstead, Tony. Got him. Will Fly. Let's see. Paramotor NC, Brian Waller, hey Bill, Angela Preslick, and Vanessa Kitty. I think, did I miss someone?
Pablo.
Oh, yeah. Keith Gray, Pablo Beckett, Fly Swamper. Lots of guys in here tonight, and girls.
Yeah, the Vanessa Kitty, that's new, correct?
I think so. So welcome, Vanessa, to Weiss Milstead. And I miss anyone, Shane?
We said Linda, right?
Yeah, Linda, Pablo Pyro.
Hey, I know why
Greg Lane.
I know why Magic Dave didn't put his real name up there. He's embarrassed to be on the show.
James, what's up, James? I don't want to miss anyone. I think I got everyone now. No.
Mark's muted. Mark's muted.
He sounds better that way.
I definitely look better and sound better that way.
Bill H. Should we say Bill H?
Yep, Bill H. Jim Clear PPG from Canada. A. What's going on?
Oh, please tell me you said Tony, because if you don't say Tony and you say Angela, oh my God, the phone calls I get. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Dave, if you don't mind hanging on just a second after the show, I got something to talk to you about.
All right.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Again, great show. I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week. Oh, Monday night is Will?
PPG Grandpa, 8 p.m. Eastern. Sean Simons. Yep. Check it out.
All right, guys. We will holler at y'all. Peace.
Oh,
what? Go ahead.
Thursday night is paraglidingtalk.com with
geez.
Robert Michaels.
I'm so stuck on what I got to talk to Dave about.
That's 9
all right.
p.m. Eastern. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Check it out.
All right,
Good night.
guys. Good night.
No show this Sunday night. We're not doing a show this Sunday night.
Okay.
On that note.
I've got a lot to say.